All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym, and the QBO Gym is a set of numerous exercises that help simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. And every month we come out with a new set of exercises for you to practice that we break down into 4 different categories. So today we are going to be focusing in the strength training section for July, which is all about locations and classes. At the top here is a video about Craig and what's going on in his business that month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is a quiz that is interactive that allows you to test your knowledge on what you just watched. And then further down are all of the exercises within that section. So today we are going to be practicing setting up classes for income transactions. We're working in the sample company, but this is where we always work. You need to be in the same session of the sample company that you were using for the last exercise. If you have not done that one where we are setting up locations, go ahead and go back to that exercise. There's a link up above in the top right corner of your screen. Go ahead and do that exercise first and then come back to this one. So our scenario today is that Craig would like to track his income by residential versus commercial services. Commercial customers rarely cut back on landscape maintenance because their businesses need to look great all the time, even when the economy is not doing so well. Residential customers, however, are much more price sensitive and less stable, but they sometimes hire Craig for large, profitable design jobs. So he would like to be able to keep track of how he is doing in each area. It is important for him. So let's go ahead and see how we would do this setting up the classes. First, we need to turn on the feature. You're going to go to the gear icon and then select Account and Settings. So here I am in the sample company. I am on the last page that I was on from the previous exercise. So that's why it looks this way. Go ahead and click on the gear icon up here on the top right corner. Under your company, click on Account and Settings. We are then going to be moving down to the Advanced tab, then go to the Category section and turn on Track Classes. So here's the Advanced tab. Click on that. In the categories, you can go ahead and click on this little pencil and then toggle over Track Classes. Now you will see here that there's this little warning that you can go ahead and check. It talks about warning you when a transaction is being assigned to a class is being assigned to a transaction. There we go. We're not going to be doing that for this exercise, and you'll see in a future exercise that it doesn't really make sense to require a class. So we're just going to go ahead and leave this unchecked. You will notice also that with classes, you can decide whether you want to have a class assigned for each transaction, like we had with locations in the previous exercise, or whether we want to assign a class for each row or item in the transaction. When it comes to income, each customer will likely be designated either residential or commercial, so it's not going to matter. But when it comes to expenses, it may matter because it's very conceivable that Craig may purchase several products at once, and some would be for residential customers and some would be for commercial customers. So for this exercise, because we're talking about income, we're going to go ahead and leave it as is to assign per transaction, which we have right here. Go ahead and just click on the green Save button. And then you can go ahead and click on the X on the top right corner to get out of this. Now we actually have to set up the classes. So we're going to go to the gear icon again and select All Lists. Gear icon here under Lists, go ahead and click on All Lists. And then we are going to click on Classes right here. And now we need to create a new one. So in the top right corner, we're going to click on the New button. In the name field, it's going to be Commercial. So go ahead and do that. The green button, click on New. Go ahead and type in Commercial. I did not spell that right. Commercial. There we go. Do not click on this is subclass. It is not subclass, so just go ahead and leave that unchecked and then click the green Save button. And now we need to do the exact same thing for residential. So go ahead and click on the green new button. Go ahead and type in residential. Again, do not click the is subclass. It is not, so do not click it. And then click on the green save button. And now you can see that the two classes that we wanted have been created. Now remember that when we set up the locations previously, we could assume that any transaction that did not have a location was coming from the main office. It doesn't really make sense to make that similar assumption though here with classes. Would the ones without a class be commercial or residential? So instead, it makes more sense to make sure that every income transaction is assigned a class. So we're going to use the reclassify tool for this. You're going to start by clicking on the accountant tools and then select reclassify transactions. So up here, accountant tools, and then select reclassify transactions. As before, due to the fact that dates are always changing in the sample company, we're going to use an entire year for the search. This time, however, we'll want to include all transactions through today, the day that you are watching this video and doing this exercise. Also, for now, we're only going to focus on income. Tracking expenses per class is a little bit more involved, and we'll handle that in a different exercise down the next one, actually. So, due to the limitation of the reclassify tool, we will just do all of the invoices and then all of the sales receipts. So in the from field it will default to the first day of the last month. We are just going to change the year to the last year. So up here, just go ahead and click into that and just make it the last year. In the to field, it will default to the last day of the last month. So all we're going to do is just enter today's date. All you need to do is just type in a lowercase t, and that will do it for you. So just click into here. You can delete this and do a lowercase t, and that defaults to today. And then in the type field, we're going to select invoice and then find transactions. So go ahead in the type, click on invoice, and then find transactions. And all of the transactions that are invoices will appear below. Now we need to reclassify the residential customers. So we're going to click on the customer vendor tab so that we can sort it by name alphabetically. So go ahead and just click it once, and you will see it's starting to do it alphabetically for you. Scroll down here a little bit. So the people that we are going to be doing are the names rather than the companies. So Gita, I think is how you pronounce that, would be the first one. So scroll down until you find that name. Okay, there's these three that you will click on the check marks right here. Then we need to look for John, who is here. Mark, 2 for Mark. And then Travis. So scroll down a little bit further. And Travis right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there should be a total of 10. So just double check that you have 10 selected. This says that 10 are selected, so I'm just going to make sure that I selected all the proper people. So all of Travis, 2 for Mark, 1 for John, and then 3 for Gita. Great. So now that we have selected them, we're going to go ahead and reclassify them. So click on the reclassify button, and then in the change class to, we're going to do the drop down to residential. So reclassify is the green button. The class, we're going to change it to residential. Click on that, and then click the green apply button. And those transactions have now been classified. But now we need to reclassify the remaining transactions to be commercial. In order to do this, though, you will need to change the filter criteria to show only those that do not have a class assigned. So we're going to change the class drop down to none. So we're going to do it to none. And then because you scroll down here, sorry. Just go ahead and click on find transactions. I was thinking something else here. My brain was going elsewhere. Okay, so you want to go ahead then and select all here because we are going to reclassify them as commercial. So click on that top checkbox, and then you're going to click on the reclassify button like we did last time, change the class to drop down to commercial. So reclassify here, and then in the class, go ahead and click into that arrow and click on commercial. Then you will click on the green apply button. And now everything has applied, and you know that because we have this filter as none, showing any kind of transactions that don't have any class. And since they have all been classified, none will show up here. So in addition to the invoices, there are a handful of sales receipts that also need to be classified. We're going to repeat exactly what we just did. For the type, we're going to do the drop down to sales receipts and then find transactions. So here, the type, go ahead and click in the arrow, and we're going to scroll down until we find sales receipts, and then click on the find transaction button. And you will see that there are 4 here. We're going to do residential first. So we're going to select Diego, Dylan, and Kate in their checkboxes. So here you can see their names, Diego, Dylan, and Kate, those 3. Go ahead and reclassify, click that button, and then change the class to residential, and then click on the green apply button. And those have been adjusted. And now we just have the last one, which is pie is cake. We're going to go ahead and change that to commercial. Just select here, and then we are going to reclassify. But before I do that, I just want to point out this says East, like lowercase e. We did it properly when we had set it up in the last exercise with a capital E. It's just that this is a default like glitch that the sample company has. So just know that we did it correctly. It's just showing up this way because of a little glitch. Okay, so you have to have this checkbox selected, and then you can click on the green reclassify button, change the class to commercial, and then select the click on the green apply button. And now all of the sales receipts have been reclassified. Now that we have reclassified a few of the old ones, let's create some new transactions. So first, we're going to start with an invoice for a commercial company. So click on the plus new button and then select invoice. The plus new button is here. Click on that. Under customers, you will find invoice. Click on that. And this invoice will appear. We are going to be doing it for our customer Rego travel agency. So go ahead in the customer, click into that and start typing their name in. And their information has populated up here. We are going to have this location be from the main office. So we need to delete East from the location field. And that's over here. Just click into it so it's highlighted and backspace. You can click out of it, and now that has been removed. We are going to have the product be a rock fountain. So go ahead and click in the product and service and start typing in rock fountain. There it is. And that information has populated for us. And then we are going to change the class to commercial. So the class is here. Go ahead and click on the arrow and then click on commercial. And now we have completed this invoice. So we're just going to save and close. Right here, the green green arrow, and then click on save and close. And that invoice has now been changed. We have one more new thing to create. We're going to create a sales receipt for a residential customer. We're going to click on the plus new button and select sales receipt. Plus new, under customers, sales receipt, click on that. And this sales receipt is going to be for Shara. You'll see in a moment when I pull it up, but Shara has a sub-customer, Barnett Design, and it's very possible that Shara is both a residential and a commercial customer. However, it's not likely that you would have both on the same sales receipt or invoice. So we're just going to have her as a residential. So if you go into the customer, start typing in her name, there she is, the customer, and there's that sub-customer. It's probably a commercial of some sort, but we're going to use per name because this is residential that we are classifying it as. The location field is still empty from the last transaction, which is totally fine. It just means that this is going to be coming from the main office. And just remember that when you're working with locations, as you as a bookkeeper are working through different transactions, it's going to default back to whatever the last transaction is that you had. So if you were using the East, it would still say East. But since the last one, the invoice that we just created, it didn't have anything, it's not showing anything right here. Now, you can always adjust it with any transaction. Just keep in mind that that's how QBO kind of thinks about it. In the product service field, we're going to select gardening. So click into this and then gardening right there. The amount is going to be $50. So in the rate, go ahead and just do 50 and tab it over. You will see that that has adjusted. And then the class field, you want to select residential. So here, residential. And then we are just going to save and close. And that sales receipt has been recorded. And that's just how you would work with classes for income transactions. And if you have any questions about the QBO Gym, just go ahead and click on the link below. Be sure to leave this session of the sample company open, as you will need it for the next exercise in this section, which is all about setting up classes for expense transactions. And I will see you in that next video.